And are you? And are you? I feel bad. These seats over here, you know. It's sort of Shakespearean. I have to come over here. Hello. How are you? All right. They're kind of scary.
Hi, Sean.
Hello, my dear.
It's like we've never met, but we were talking backstage. But it always feels weird because you sit down and go, so hi, how are you doing? Again.
Let's carry this out in front of people, shall we? That's what I was thinking.
You were having some deep and meaningful conversations there.
About technology.
About technology and life. And
Raise your hand. Wait, does everybody have their phones on them? Can you turn your lights on?
Oh, yeah, turn your lights on your phones. Let's have a look.
Oh
my God, it's kind of amazing.
That's what the end of civilization looks like.
That's exactly what
Oh, that's incredible, you guys. Wow, I feel like Bono.
Yeah, actually, we have to start waving them in the air now, like get
I have to sing.
Yes, yes.
In the name of love. Sorry, one more. Sorry, I like to sing.
Good.
My daughter says to me, my daughters hate my voice. I have 3 daughters. Allie, 22. She'll be 23 this month. She was the girl who played Eleanor at the end of The Lord of the Rings, the little daughter who comes running up to Sam. Yes, that's how I feel. 23 now, finished university, in her own apartment. And then we've got 17, Elizabeth, and 14 is Isabella. So they all hate my singing voice.
Is it a bad singing voice?
No, it's a wonderful singing voice. It's just never in tune. It's never on key. But no, except when I have a microphone, if I can hear myself, it can be a little bit better. You'll see in a minute. But
what's your go-to karaoke song then?
Oh,
mine's Starship.
Which,
We built this city.
We built this, yeah.
On rock and roll, like such a good song.
It's a great. The first time I ever went to a nightclub, I was 18. I was in Australia, and that song was on, and I was talking to girls. So, good memories. Definitely good memories for that song. I don't know. I like Billy Joel.
Billy Joel.
Come out, Virginia, don't let me wait. You Catholic girls start much too late. Oh, well, sooner or later it comes down to fate. I might as well be the one. That's dedicated to Virginia, who's with me working in my corner this week. I don't know where she is.
Where's Virginia?
Yeah.
Oh, she's over there.
Virginia,
Hello.
there you go.
Hello. She's
Only the good die young.
Yay.
There it is.
You've got a lovely voice. What do you think,
Thank
you
you.
guys? Good karaoke voice? There you go.
So my daughter says, I get a play, my first play ever. It's John Cleese adaptation of a French farce. And she walks into the kitchen, and I said, hey, I just got offered my first, well, I've been offered others, but the first full play. She said, do you have to sing in it?
Oh,
I said, no. She said, then you should do it. And then the next one came in and said the same thing. And then my wife came in. She's a little more politic. And she said, oh, are you going to sing? I said, no. She said, oh.
Sean, I wanted to go back before your daughters were born.
Yeah.
When you were a youngie, when you were a young thing.
Yeah.
Because I am a very, very, very big Goonies fan.
Oh, yeah.
Are you getting to the Goonies? Any Goonies fans here? Now, I saw that it's going to be 35 years old next year. Crazy! How do you feel when you look back at yourself growing up in front of the camera? Is it weird? Is it like looking back at an old photo when you watch your old movies?
It's... Sometimes I'll take a moment. Okay, so this year, I was lucky enough to perform in Big Bang Theory. Did anybody see me in Big Bang Theory?
Hey, fans?
I was in 3 episodes at the end of the final season, which was just mental. I was such a fan of the show right when it came out, and it did so much for these Comic Cons. You know, it really helped popularize the Comic Cons. It turned it from sort of a fringe thing into a kind of a mainstream family entertainment. So I love that. And there I am on stage, and my character is Dr. Pemberton, and Sheldon is knocking, Dr. Pemberton, Dr. Pemberton, and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then they open the door, and I have to be performing. But anyhow, the stage where they did that show for 12 years, I want to say it was stage 20, but whichever the number was, it's where the set for the attic was in the Goonies, where we retrieved the map. And the Chester Copperpot story, and I tell the story of One-Eyed Willie and the war with the great battle, and so they were all big Goonies fans too, and so we're chit-chatting, and I'm looking up at the rafters, and I'm looking at the door, and they're like, what are you doing? So I think this is the exact spot I found the map. And they were like, oh,
Like, oh my
oh. But I'll take a moment to look at it and try and remember what I was doing and where I was. And, you know, over the years, different things are important to you. Different memories are important to you. So it's great when my kids see it. And these conventions are incredible. I've met so many people who have my face tattooed on their body.
What is that like? Does that ever get, like, sort of, do you ever go, whoa? Have you ever had, like, a weird one tattooed in a weird place?
I've had it all, my dear. I've had it all. But there was once in Portland, Oregon, at a convention there, Rose City Comic Con, they called it, because Portland is the city of roses, or something. And a woman comes up, and she was a larger woman, and she had on, there were no sleeves, and my face was massive on her arm, and she was very shy.
Yeah.
And I looked at her, and I was like, and she almost didn't want to talk.
Oh.
And I was, well, it's a pleasure to meet you, and lovely this, and shall I come around and maybe take a picture with you and the thing? And I swear she would rather have been somewhere else. She was so nervous or something. But, of course, everything comes back to your family. I took a picture, and I sent it to my wife and kids, and I don't know what they thought of it, but it was a little strange.
When there's another film I want to talk about.
Okay.
My mom and dad got me this for my birthday back in the 90s.
California Man.
Yes.
Yes.
I
You know
love
California
it.
Man.
Who knows California, or Encino Man, it was called.
Encino Man in America, yes, but
Well, like,
yes.
it's such a weird movie.
a guy came up to me in line today. His name is Dave Morgan.
Really?
Yeah, Dave, are you here? Dave Morgan, which is
No.
the name of my character in California Man.
Oh
Dave
my
Morgan.
God, amazing.
We look nothing alike.
It's looked like such a fun movie to make. Did you have fun making it? And it so encapsulates the 90s as well, in that time period.
Hey, buddy. I have this line in that movie where at Pauly Shore, and I go, all you're about is nugs, chillin', and grindage.
Yes, oh my God.
Nugs, chillin', grindage is food. I had a little code, a legend to decode what he was saying. But, no, yeah, I mean, what can I say?
It's such a
what can I say?
bizarre.
I want a sequel.
What do you think would happen? Where would
Well,
they
at
all
the
be
end
now?
of the first movie, there's
Yeah.
another earthquake, and Betty Nuggs.
Yes.
Betty Nuggs. Don't tell the children yet. They're not old enough.
Would you do a sequel if they approached you?
I'm a professional actor. I show up. They want to do a sequel? Great, let's go. Pauly wants to do it. I'm sure Brendan would do it. But I want to see what happened. Did they have cave children?
Yeah.
I mean, I would feel, I don't know. Who knows what it would be? It could be anything. My philosophy on sequels is the more the better.
Oh.
And some people, they think, oh my God. Well, sequels. Remakes I'm a little bit more, kind of particular about. But because you know what? If it's bad, don't watch it.
Yeah,
But,
you're right.
people want to have an emotional experience, and they want to extend it. We don't, there's something, I guess, noble about things that come to an end. You come to the end of the story. Lord of the Rings, well, I'm back, and the book closes, and if you want to experience again, you start at the beginning of the book, but you're in for another long journey. But, I don't know, Ghostbusters, I like the Ghostbusters sequel. Some people didn't like it, but I'll go for, yeah.
But you're so right, because we live in this culture of people getting online and moaning, and if you don't like it, just don't watch it.
Yeah.
It's that simple, people.
And the other thing is, when I come to conventions, people interpret me or movies I've been in or characters or stories in a million different ways. Needlepoint and in music and drawing and whatever. And people are expressing themselves. Well, the filmmakers and the actors and, most of the people involved with it, they're expressing themselves. So let the next group of people express themselves, and you can, appreciate their hard work and then, not watch. If somebody remade Back to the Future, I don't know if I would, I might look at it just to see what they did, but no one's going to ever take Back to the Future away from me,
Yeah,
That's my
exactly.
feeling.
It's stuck in your brain. Now, a lot of your characters have got a lot of heart. I love this quote, people will root for anyone if they show them your heart. Now, Samwise...
I can't remember where I said that. People will root for anyone who shows them their heart. That I think
I
is
think
the
it's a
essence of
beautiful phrase.
the through line of the characters that I've been able to play, and it's true. You know, if you take you know, a beetle, a little dung beetle, and you set it here on the couch, and the dung beetle just wants to get to the other side of the couch where there's a girl dung beetle. After a few minutes, all you want is to see that dung beetle get to the other side. You know what I mean? There's a human instinct to feel about other people, to care about other people, to care about you know, and ideas, important ideas. So it's what makes me so frustrated about the state of the world today with the political and government and all the different movements that are happening. Somehow it seems to have just reached a place where people forget.
Yeah, I
They
think you're
forget
right.
that we love each other and we
Yep.
want to live and we want peace and we want happiness and prosperity and we want to talk to each other, you know, with the way you teach your children to be respectful to each other. So
That's why I love your characters, you know, because when I watch you on screen, it's not overly saccharine. You know, you've just got, there's a nobleness in the heart and a niceness of the human spirit that comes through. Like with
Thank you.
Samwise, you know, you see that absolutely with all of the characters you've played, even your very first role in the Goonies. Like, and even in California, man, he just wants to do good and get the girl, you know, and that's really, really
he wants to
simple.
be popular. And what's more important than that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, exactly.
No, really, what's more important than that?
Now, I read that you
But
spent...
he's willing to dig a pool in his backyard to be popular, and he wants it so badly. That's his heart. So yes, that's true.
I remember
Wonderful.
watching that when I was younger thinking, I really want to live in California. It's not like this in Scotland. I couldn't dig a pool in my backyard. It would be muddy and wet.
You've got rain there.
You got rain, but trust me, it's not Californian weather.
You
Like,
know
it's
what movie?
real.
There's two movies, English. Well, one is an American movie, but to me it's as much an English movie as an American movie that I made in this country in 1989. Raise your hand if you were born after 1989. All right, leave your hand up if you were born after 1999. All right.
Okay.
Welcome, newbies. Thank you for raising your hand. So it's called Memphis Belle. You guys know Memphis Belle, the World War II movie about the B-17 bomber? And we filmed at RAF Duxford and RAF Bimbrook, and we were in Lincolnshire, and I went to do this SAS training down in the south of England, and I went to Brighton. Katie, where are you, Katie? Yeah, I went to Brighton. That was fun. And Penzance. And
So you've been all over the UK,
I
then?
conquered this country. So there's that one. And then the other one is pure British. It's, well, I guess Lord of the Rings is too with Tolkien. But no, I was thinking of Terry Pratchett, The Color of Magic.
Yeah.
Fellow Pratchetts. I got to play Two-Flower in The Color of Magic. It's one of my favorite things I've ever got to do in my whole life. It's such a upsetting passing for Terry Pratchett to go so young. But anyhow, so we filmed that in Windsor. I got to live in Windsor for 3.5 months.
Windsor's lovely.
Do you know The Long Walk?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
every day. I was so fit in that movie. Oh, my God. I was always running. I was running everywhere. Do you want to go to lunch? He did 3 miles. But, yeah, I would do the long walk from the castle all the way through the deer park up to where that Caesar statue was.
No wonder you were so fit.
Oh, my gosh.
But
I
surely
love
you
that
must
so
be
much.
fit, like doing Lord of the Rings and stuff as well. Like you're outdoors. Like
Do you not? Okay, so
I'm guessing.
Gollum calls me the stupid fat hobbit.
Well, that's true. I'm just that
It's
is
outrageous.
true. Can you? I wanted to ask.
I was doing push-ups. Yeah, but I'm strong.
Because you did 6 weeks with a dialect coach, right, for the Samwise.
Andrew Jack, Englishman, and Roisin Cardi,
Can you
who's
give
Irish.
us some tips for the Samwise accent? What kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
tips?
yeah.
Because I'm terrible at accents.
You are.
So what tips
But
would
you sound
give us?
good. You're brilliant.
Well, this is just
Scottish.
my accent.
It's great. I love this Scottish sound.
We'll have to.
You do me too.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you give me some tips, and I'll
so
give you
with Samwise, it's
Okay.
West Country.
what?
West Country.
West Country.
Country.
West Country.
Yeah, that's it.
The-
Yeah. and he's
Okay.
they gave me a recording of a farmer, and he said, and the sentence, and every time before I would go to work, I would listen to this sentence. That's a nice shiny apple.
Oh, okay. Let me try that. That's
A nice
a nice
shiny
shiny
apple.
apple.
You went a little special there at the end, didn't you? That's all right. So everything was like elongate the vowels. So lembas bread is the special elven bread that if you have a little bite, it can, a grown man or a hobbit, it'll sustain you for 3 weeks or something like that. So I would say lembas bread, and Andrew Jack would say, no, you need to elongate the vowels. So it's lembas bread. And I said, lembas bread? No, lembas bread. Lembas bread? No, lembas bread. So there was one take. Sometimes we would go to the hotel the next night, and you'd sit in the room, and Peter Jackson had a couch set up, and there was a screen, and we would watch all the rushes from the day before. And there's one shot of me looking at Frodo at the beginning of the Two Towers, and I said, do you want some lembas bread? Elijah Wood fell on the floor laughing so hard, and I was like, maybe I can make it a little bit of my own too, but that's a nice shiny apple. Potatoes, boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Can you say potatoes?
Potatoes.
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 Boil them.
Oh, in Scotland, just be tatties.
Pataties?
Or just tatties.
Yeah. Well, he also calls them taters.
Taters.
Potatoes.
Potatoes.
We're kind of doing a bit here. I like it. You did it. It was perfect.
I did it right.
Boil them.
Boil them.
Mash them.
Mash them.
Stick them in a stew.
Stick them in a stew.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Boil them, mash them. Potato. Potato. Potato.
There's a meme.
Yes.
It was one of the first memes ever in all of memedom. And I looked at it and I thought, when I die, that's what they'll show on the news. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Astin, actor known for screaming potatoes. And they've got it animated with the potatoes marching, and then the thing mashes them down.
Amazing.
Anyhow, people always ask me how I like them. Au gratin? I don't know.
That's what, I've got some fan questions here, and Pixel Eye Pictures via Twitter said, how do you like your potatoes?
Yes.
And I've got another Twitter...
This doesn't just happen, my dear. You have to work at it. Potatoes are a strong factor in every form.
I've got another Twitter question from Quinn Neary.
Mashed in shepherd's pie.
Oh, yeah.
That was the same group of people who liked Terry Pratchett. Interesting. We're going to talk later, that small group over there.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see you over there, too. Go ahead.
So this is from Quinn Neary via Twitter. If you could have defeated the Demogorgon, how would you have done it? How would you have defeated it?
Stranger Things.
Yes. Right.
The Demogorgon.
Yes.
Dogs.
Yeah.
Also known as demo dogs. It was terribly upsetting. Bob stops running, period. I got out my eraser. And then he continues on very quickly out the gate. How would I have done it? Well, nothing too fancy, but maybe a knife right in the throat.
Just
cut him open, yeah.
Old school.
Old school, yeah.
Old school.
Or I could have been like Legolas. I could have had a bow and arrow, or maybe a taser. Bob worked at Radio Shack. Maybe he'd been working, he invented a taser. Oh.
I've got another Twitter question.
Maybe
here.
no. I could be like in Australia, Paul Hogan, who did what is he? Crocodile Dundee.
That's it.
And he mesmerizes the German shepherds and they calm down.
Yes.
Oh, that would have been so good.
Would you have liked to have seen that? Yes. Yes. Last Twitter question here before we go on to an Instagram deep dive. Okay. So, what is your favorite fantasy world from Bagoof Rob via Twitter? Favorite fantasy world? It's a hard one.
Not for me. It's Star Wars. It's always been Star Wars.
Star Wars fans?
It's always been Star Wars. I was 7 years old when that came out, and I borrowed my father's Super 8 film camera, and I would do chores and make up enough money to go and buy the Super 8 cartridge film.
Yeah.
And we recreated Star Wars in our backyard. We had little miniatures, and we built one of those pods, one of those space pods, and that was watching the making of Star Wars when George Lucas was, showing you how they did the models and stuff. One of the reasons I think it's why I appreciated Lord of the Rings so much. Because when we got down to New Zealand, they had these things called bigatures, miniatures, but they were so massive, it seemed silly calling them a miniature, but, Minas Tirith, 2 stories tall, and you could take a ladder and climb up, and wherever you would look on Minas Tirith, you know, or in the mines of Moria, you could see little buckets and just everything. It was just like a little kid's fantasy. And I remember thinking, and honestly, when you look at the films back again, that's the best stuff. Yeah. I think. I mean, it's so real. It makes it feel so real. So yeah.
So let's go to the Instagram deep dive. I've dived very deep. There you go. That's my Photoshop job up there. Check that out. Really professional, like only the best content for you guys, top quality content. So let's go to the first picture. The first picture here from your Instagram. Let's have a look at it.
What's coming from my Instagram?
Right. So we have a picture here of Robin Williams and you.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask.
He loved Lord of the Rings.
Did he?
And he loved Gollum. Gollum was his favorite.
So where is this? Where was this?
I think that must have been at the Two Towers premiere.
Right.
In Westwood Village, actually, right out in front of the Man Bruin Cinema, where when I was 16, I worked tearing tickets and selling popcorn and cleaning the butter maker and, you know, temperature in the theater. I worked at that theater, and there you are, 15 years later, I'm starring in this, you know, several $100 million franchise and getting to meet one of the greats. I also met him at the Directors Guild of America, the union for the directors at their award show. And we were backstage, and he said something to me, and I said, well, it's something about the longevity, the potential that it would have enduring. That baby's fine. You don't have to worry. I like that baby.
Oh.
I mean, you can keep it, but I like it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful baby. Hi, baby. Hello, boo-boo. Hello,
so
love babies.
Cute.
Just don't come on the plane just yet, because I have to fly back to Miami in the morning. I'm kidding. Baby's good.
Yeah,
So
Williams,
he says to me, we're talking about he made some comment about the enduring legacy of what Lord of the Rings would become. And this was just when it was coming out. And I said, well, I don't know. You know, I kind of, not just modest, but you don't know necessarily what's going to mean something to people over time. And he said, oh, no, man. He goes, you guys are locked in. And that expression, locked in, the idea that in the popular imagination, something can happen that is, I don't know if it's permanent, but, you know, how many generations it'll last. But he just made it, it's just something about the way he said that I so appreciate. And again, another tragic passing, so upsetting. But love Robin Williams.
We're going to move on to another game now. Instead, I'm going to move on from the Instagram deep dive. But before, we're going to move on to BFFs Getting to Know You. This is another game.
Is that you and me, BFFs?
Are we BFFs?
Yeah.
Yay. Yeah. Okay, so let's get the BFFs. Thanks. Look at that. Check that out.
Oh.
Top quality content. Guys, before we start this game, there's a mic there and there's a mic there. And if you have a question for Sean, start queuing up and we'll get to fan questions. Mike at this side of the room and Mike at that side of the room. Don't be shy. Just jump up and get to the mics.
So getting to know you.
Getting to know all about you. I feel like you're in tune and I'm out of tune. Sorry, I was letting the side down.
We switched.
Yeah, we switched. So answer these really quick, okay? This is if we were getting to know you and be your BFF, okay? Your most embarrassing moment. No?
Once when I was 16, I made a deal with a man. He would bring recording equipment to my show, and I would go and present awards to cheerleaders. It was a cheerleading competition. So 16, 17, 18-year-old girls, thousands of them. And so I'm there at the stadium. It was a massive stadium, and I had stubble like I did now, and I thought, if I'm going to meet these girls, you know. So I went into the bathroom, and I brought a razor, but I didn't have shaving cream. So I just dry shave like this.
Oh, no.
Right, really fast. And I look in the mirror, blood was pouring down my face. I mean, like a horror movie. So I'm trying to get it to blot up, and they're like, Sean, it's time. And so I finally get it all so it's at least coagulating a little bit. And I go out there, and they have those cameras that, like, you know, for the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
And so, hi, now from St. Louis, the something or other things. And the girls come up, and they're like, oh, my gosh. And they look at me. They all have this disgusted look on my face. So I'm sure I've had something more embarrassing, but that's the first one that pops in mind.
What qualities do you look for in a best friend? qualities. Go for it.
Large breasts.
Fair.
All my guy friends are like that. No, I don't know. What do I look for in a best friend? My wife is my best friend. So, and when we met when I was 19, I saw her and I just, in my mind, I tackled her.
You're like, yes, you're the one for me.
I tackled her and never let her go.
I feel that way about my husband.
Yeah.
It's nice when you meet your person.
Yeah.
What
She tries to get away all the time. I think it's illegal. No, so what is it about her? There's just her heart, you know, something about her heart is so perfect.
And your biggest pet peeve?
Okay, in airports lately, when I'm walking, people have forgotten how to walk.
Yes.
What is wrong with people? Even if they're not on their phones, it's like they're taking the same disorientation that they would have if they were looking at their phones, and they've carried it into their non-phone walking.
Yes.
So you walk it down people, you pick a line. I'm walking this way. Now, it's one thing if somebody has to go from here to there, and so you cross paths. It's fine to be patient. But when people are heading that way, and they just kind of wander into your path.
And you're like, mate,
walk
better.
It's exhausting.
Our last one,
I'd like to have a paint gun.
There was a Facebook group for a time called I Like to Punch Slow Walking People in the Back of the Head.
I don't mind slow. Just hold your line, people.
Yeah, stay in one line.
Yeah, hold your line.
And the last one, very quick, because we need to get the fan questions. If you're feeling down or sad, how would we make you feel better? What picks you up? What would pick you up?
Well, the truth is, it doesn't look like it at the moment, but I'm a runner.
Yes.
I've done 13 big city marathons. I must come and do the London Marathon.
You must, yeah.
It's strange how they organize it. It's so big. They have 3 starting chutes.
Yeah.
But anyhow, and I did the Ironman triathlon in Hawaii, and there's something about nature, mountains. And I love running with large groups of people because I interact with large groups of people all the time. And it's not just because you're famous, but our way of relating now, person to person, we take pictures with each other. And that's great. I love taking selfies. I love taking pictures. It's memorializing a moment. But there is a repetitive quality to it. So sometimes I like the idea that we're all together, but we're moving in the same direction. We kind of have a common purpose. At the end, we've shared something together that we'll never forget.
Yeah.
And then when you chit-chat about it, you can, I want to know what happened to you on mile 11, and you want to know what happened to me, and, so there's something about that. So if we'll all go for a run tomorrow morning, we'll be at the hotel just around the corner starting 6 a.m.
Who's up for a run at 6 a.m.?
Yep.
Yeah, there's like
one taker. Were you the millennial who raised your hand too? I like you. I like that one.
Right, now on to fan questions. Let's start over here. Sir, go for it. What's your name? What's your question?
My name is Ryan. That is loud. So as what teenager pursuing acting myself, I wanted to ask you, Sean, in terms of method, motivation, and intention, how do you work as a professional actor?
My good luck to you in your career. I'm sure we will be on a film or television set or stage before too long.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
You have a seriousness of purpose and a gravity that will carry you far.
Thank you.
My father taught me, my mother and father are actors, famous actors. More important than famous, they're good quality actors. My father's admonition to me, and then when I got older and studied for a little bit with Stella Adler, she said the same thing. The truth. It's the actor's job to tell the truth. You're an instrument, a vessel through which the truth of the playwright flows. So your job is to expunge artifice from your being and just be as authentic and real and honest as you can. Even if you're playing an absurd character, there's an honesty to being the fool or a fop. Whether it's a soap opera or an Academy Award winning part or a puppet show, you come to it with the same level of commitment to being honest, and you'll be good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Let's
very
move
much.
over here. What's your name? What's your
answer more
question?
quickly, shouldn't I?
No,
Oh,
that's
okay.
fine. Answer the way you want. Go
My
for it.
name is Josh. I just wanted to ask, on the set of Goonies, what was your favourite part about acting on set?
I got to kiss Carrie Green. And that's not a joke. That was the best part. The pirate ship was fine, but kissing the girl was better.
Thank you very much. Let's go back over to this side. What's your name? What's your question, sir?
Hi, my name is Sam.
The
named
real
after
Sam.
Samwise.
Hi, Samwise.
Hi. My question for you is, since you're in the UK, are you going to be meeting up with any of your fellow members of the Fellowship?
Oh, meeting up with the fellowship, are you?
They're all hotshot, move to America, get rich and famous people now. I don't know. I'm coming back here to the old country to keep it real, you know?
Nice.
So, no, I don't, not this particular trip. I've seen Billy Boyd, your Scottish
Yes.
mate, and Elijah at different conventions over the last year. But I'm only here for 36 hours. So thank you for bringing up such a painful thought.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
And you over here. What's your name? Question.
Hi, I'm Jack.
Hi, Jack.
My question is, because you've done Stranger Things and Lord of the Rings and the Goonies, would you join Marvel or DC?
Yeah. Oh, you want one or the other?
Yeah?
Well, I just was in Supergirl.
You were in Supergirl.
Yes, you was,
Yeah. I don't think that's fully. It was like 6 hours worth of work, but I got to have a fight in Martian. It was awesome. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I do not have a particular. I'm agnostic. You know, I'm Switzerland. I'm Switzerland. So I'm the voice of Shazam in Justice League, one of the TV shows.
Yeah.
I was Raphael, voice of Raphael in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle for Nickelodeon from 2012 to 16 or whatever. So I'm very promiscuous. I'll go wherever.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jack. Who have you got over here? Who's next? What's your name?
Evan.
Hi, Evan. What's
Hi,
your
Evan.
question?
Well, in The Lord of the Rings, was the feet annoying?
Did the feet get in the way in Lord of the Rings? She got those big feet.
Evan, that is an astute question. Yes, they were occasionally terribly annoying. They were wet and sticky and uncomfortable, and they pulled out the hair on your feet, and sometimes a horse would step on your toe and rip off your hobbit toe, and sometimes it wasn't, you'd run up a volcano and the rocks would cut in, and you have cuts all over your feet. Stupid Tolkien.
Thanks, Evan. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Evan.
Over here, what's your name?
Hi, Sean. I'm Saban. I was just wondering, you know, you said you did Raphael in Ninja Turtles. I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fan.
Come on, stop talking and start fighting.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, you know, in your show, the 80s Turtles came back. The 80s Turtles came back in your show. So I was wondering if in any future versions of Ninja Turtles, if they were to ask you to come back, would you do it?
Oh, yeah, in a heartbeat. The 80s Turtles came back. And
Yeah.
Actually, one of the 80s Turtles was playing
Yeah, Rob
Leonardo.
Paulson,
He was
Donnie,
Rob
yeah.
Paulson, who
Yeah.
played Raphael in the original, was now playing Leonardo. He's
Yeah.
now directing the new one.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised we haven't gotten the call to come back, but I think maybe they need a little space to create their own show and make sure they have their own identity. But yeah, no, of course. I'd be happy to participate, of course.
Thanks.
Thank
I'm
you.
very easygoing.
Thank you so much. Who have we got over here? What's your name? What's your
I'm
question?
Jake.
Jake, go for
Hi,
it.
Jake.
What was your favourite part of being Bob in Stranger Things?
Kissing Winona Ryder.
All the kissing stuff, you enjoy that, I'm
Well,
guessing.
yeah. My wife doesn't like it when I say that. She doesn't think it's a funny joke, but I don't know. You know, I don't know.
And it's Winona.
It's Winona.
It's
We grew up
Winona.
alongside each other in Hollywood, and we did a little movie together many years ago, and so we were back together again. And she's so sweet. And Bob, you know, what was great about Bob was just, again, his heart. He just is a decent, nice, sweet, loyal, just wants to give her, you know, make her life better and help her children. And, you know, there was the very first line that we filmed of Bob's. It's when the brothers are in the bedroom and Will is, you know, feeling badly that people are talking to him differently than normal because of his experience. And his brother is saying, listen, there's David Bowie type people and there's Kenny Rogers type people. Who do you want to be, David Bowie or Kenny Rogers? And Bob walks in and says, Kenny Rogers, I love Kenny Rogers. And that kind of guileless, you know, happy, open thing, I feel very comfortable doing that. I also, frankly, loved the final episode for Bob, and just getting to become Sigourney Weaver in Aliens was like awesome.
Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you.
Over here, lovely. What's your name? Question.
Hi, I'm Thiz, and I absolutely love all your work. But this is a bit of an odd
I
question.
love your voice.
Thank you.
Such a beautiful voice.
But I've just bought this bat plushie. Could you name it?
You want me to name the bat plushie?
Yeah.
It's Gus. I see Gus. Hey, Gus. It's short for Gustafson. He took off. He was in Sweden, and he started out over the channel.
Yep.
It was a thing blew in. He got lost. He landed somewhere near the Dover, you know, by the White Cliffs, and then he's been lost ever since. And now he finally made his way to you. And thank God for Gus.
Give a round of
That
applause
was
for
brilliant.
Gus. Yes. I hope that answers that conundrum. Next, who have we got over here?
Ariana,
Hi there, what's your question?
will you ever do a Goonies sequel?
Goonies sequel.
Well, when I said at the beginning that I liked sequels, I meant that for Goonies as well. So, yes. In fact, the Goonies sequel I want to see, I want to go back in time, and I want to meet One-Eyed Willie in the middle of the battle. That's what I want to do. But I'm just the actor. I don't get to choose.
Just putting that out there, though.
Put it out there.
Just
I
put
never
that out
put it out there, but now, you know, we're getting old. Might as well.
Why not?
Thank you, my
very
dear.
much. Next.
Yeah, my name's Laura.
Hi.
In Lord of the Rings, if you could have played any other character, what would you have liked to have played?
Well, when the casting director called, or when my agent called and said she'd talked to the casting director, and they said, you have to come in for Samwise Gamgee. They think it's going to be your part. And I said, well, okay, Samwise Gamgee. And I'd never heard of Lord of the Rings. So I went to the bookshop, and I got all the 3 books, and I came home, and I started reading them. And I thought, well, now why do I have to play Samwise? I like this Aragorn. He's kind of cool. He's tough strider, you know. He's got a sword, and I didn't even know he became the king. That would make it worse. So, and I said that to my agent, and she said no.
Thank you for your question. Thank you. Who have we got over here?
Hi, my name's Amelia, and say in about 50 years, what do you want to be remembered for? Say, your legacy?
Thank you for that question.
So 50 years from now, the world is still on fire, but we're remembering Sean Astin. There's a giant monument. What's on there? What kind of words?
Well,
have we got?
you'll see the monument to my 3 daughters, and there'll be a little one off to the side. You say, oh, that was the father of those 3 girls. Wow, he must have been special. And if you read the little inscription on my statue, it'll say, not really, it was my wife's doing. I think Rudy is the most singularly identifiable character that I've played because he's so much determination and commitment to achieving something, but he's not an ideal literary character like Samwise. So Samwise, The Lord of the Rings, is unquestionably the most important work that I've done in my life, and it will be the most important work at the end of my life looking back. But Rudy is me. It's Sean. I am Rudy. We're all Rudy in a way, but Rudy is an American football movie about a boy who wants to play for one of the great universities, the Catholic university in the middle of the country, Notre Dame. And he's not tall enough, strong enough. He has no football ability. His grades are terrible. There's absolutely no reason why he should be allowed to do that, but he just is relentless in his quest to do it. And finally, at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, he gets in for one play. And at the end of the play, when the game is over, his teammates carry him off the field on their shoulders. And his triumph is nothing compared to the people who are actually playing the game, but it's specific to him. And I feel like, and it's real for him and for the people who know him. That's where my quote comes from. So I feel like that's, getting to play Samwise, Sean getting to play Samwise is like Rudy. He's just wanting to get into Notre Dame, getting to do something so important, so meaningful. So, yeah, it'll be nice to be remembered, if at all.
Thank you for your question. I've got gentleman with gremlin. Hi.
Hi.
What's your name? What's your question?
That's not Gizmo.
Go for it. What have you got?
My father was in that movie. My father was the janitor who accidentally spills water on the gremlins in the beginning of the second movie. So, you're welcome.
Oh, that's good. What's your favorite practical effect in the movie you've been in?
In Lord of the Rings?
Or any, or Lord of the
Favourite
Rings?
practical effect?
Wow, that's a great question.
That is a good question. Thank you.
Well, hobbits are little, so they had to find lots of creative ways of making us look little. The most obvious now is the computer-generated green screen manipulations. But from a practical effect, they did some really fun things. They built a wagon wheel, a giant wagon wheel, and they have the camera set like this. We're in Brie, and there you can see, I think it's a Prancing Pony or whichever one it is, the restaurant, or bar, whatever, tavern, and the four hobbits are coming up the street towards the camera, and they roll the wagon wheel in front of the camera, and all of us are looking up as though we just saw a carriage run by. So it's just a trick of the mind. I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. They would also do things like they would make an oar for the elven canoes that we were in, the elven boats, and for the hobbits, they made the oars really, really big, so our hands couldn't go all the way around it. So it looked like little people holding a big, there were all those kind of things I love.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Good question. We've got time for one more question, I'm afraid. One more, but Sean will be signing autographs and doing all the stuff, so you can ask Sean when you see him later. One more question. What is your name and what is your question?
All right, my name's Tom, and I was just wondering, you already established that the Hobbit feet were occasionally inconvenient or uncomfortable. I was just wondering, with the feet and the ears and all the other practical makeup, how long did that all take to apply, and was that irritating at all?
Well, the hardest part about it was being fat. Like, I would just run the LA Marathon when, I don't know stones, I know pounds, but I weighed probably 135 pounds when I did the marathon. I get the job, and by the time we started shooting and throughout the course of it, I got up to 200 pounds. So, which is fine, you get out of shape, but then after a certain period of time, you start running again, eating right, and you go back the other way. Well, for Lord of the Rings, I had to be like that for nearly 2 years. And at a certain point, I'm looking at the mirror, and I can't recognize the fat guy. I can't see myself. I can't see me who I know and feel good about. I just see, and Elijah would always get mad at me, like, you're Sam, just enjoy being Sam. And like, in character, yeah, I'm Sam, but on Saturday morning, I'm looking and I'm like, ugh, and just sitting down and walking, and I was just fat. And that, you can't take you can take the feet and the ears and the hair off. But to answer your question, 4 a.m, we'd show up, stand on a box, took an hour and 20 minutes to put the feet on, glue, wet, cold glue, sticky, jabby glue. I'm not complaining, I'm just describing it. And then the ears probably took 25 minutes, and the hair probably took another 25, 30 minutes. So what was all that? 2 hours, somewhere around 2 hours.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, Sean.
And by the way, I wouldn't change it for the world. I'd go back and do it again if I could. It's just miserable, but I loved it. It was miserable, but I loved it. But
Sean,
it's
it was lovely. I've really enjoyed not just chatting to you on this stage, but I've enjoyed chatting to you backstage as well. As soon as I met Sean, he made me feel so at ease and comfortable, and you're just so lovely to speak to. Honestly, go and see this man and chat to him if you can. Get his autograph, take photos. Sean, have a lovely time at
Thank you. I love you so much. You're so sweet, and we can talk whenever we want. We can be friends now.
Are we BFFs?
There you go, BFFs. Yay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, so but what I was going to say is Birmingham is so cool. I didn't realize the architecture was going to be as cool as it was.
It's nice, right?
It's really cool. Some of those buildings, and it's got the history, and I study the Industrial Revolution a little bit, so I feel like connected to time a little bit in this country, and I've made a couple movies here, and I've traveled here, and it's just always good to be back. I've done a lot of conventions in England. It's always good to be back here, and I just want to thank you all for the hospitality and line. You've been so generous and welcoming, and so I really appreciate that you guys opened up your hospitality to me, and it means a lot. Thank you so much.
A round of applause to you guys. Thank you. And an even huger round of applause to Mr. Sean Astin.